Hi all, this is Squee116 bringing you another look at a older kind of vintage lens being adapted for a Sony a7 II. This time we're going to be talking about the Leica Summicron R 50mm f2. Summicron Rs are kind of a weird beast as they don't have the typical massive price tag attached to them that a lot of other Leica lenses have. And it's kind of an interesting thing because I've had really good experiences with the Summicron R. I like the way the colors render, I like the sharpness, there's a lot of good things about it. So I'm going to show you kind of the cinematic look to it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of motion going on in these films, but at least you can kind of see what sharpness and colors will look like at the different settings. Now this is shot midday towards the tail end of summer, so it's very bright for these kind of exposures. You're going to notice everything's kind of blown out in the standard profile at ISO 200. And it doesn't really start recovering until about f4, really starts to sharpen up towards 5.6, and then just becomes an incredible image, I think, at f8. Now you could shoot at a lower f-stop if you have an ND filter, but really the point of the test is to kind of see what it looks like without the aids of other kind of hardware attachments. And I'm not really sure whether or not I could find an ND filter that would fit on the end of this Summicron R. So here's the basic footage. I'm not gonna talk too much through it because it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm just trying to zoom in between the foreground and the background to kind of give you an idea of the bokeh and the sharpness. It really does kind of sharpen up around 2.8 and then even more so up to 5.6 and f8. f2 actually is surprisingly sharp. But the depth of field is pretty slim for a full-frame camera. So if you don't know exactly what you're trying to get into focus, and if it's not too deep or whatever you're trying to get in focus isn't very wide or deep, it'll be okay. But otherwise, you're probably better off kind of closing it down. Here in S-Log2, you see the fatal flaw. As per usual, being required to shoot at ISO 1600 basically makes f2 unusable. You really should bring an ND filter but your plan is to shoot at f2 at least. So, just a worthless blob of white at that point, really. 2.8 isn't so much better. I kind of close it down a little bit past 2.8 to go to 3.5 just to see if the image becomes a little bit more usable, and it does. Really, after ISO 1600, you really have to start closing it down for a more usable image, you know. Now, mind you, this lens is a manual focus, so I'm just pulling focus with an estimation, basically of the distances from the foreground and the background. I didn't measure anything, so they're not exact. I will miss focus, and you know that's on me. So, okay, we got to 5.6. You're starting to see the silhouette kind of become redefined around the lavender bush. The background is starting to clean up some. I really do like shooting S-Log2, despite the kind of the problems that come along with it, you know. There's just something about the footage that's very kind of compelling. And then f8 again, man, I really enjoy those colors. They do kind of just pop. A lot more of that data is coming straight at you because of the increased dynamic range. So you can get kind of an idea of what it's like basically to shoot graded and ungraded, especially in S-Log. And you become immensely thankful for programs like DaVinci Resolve that lets you do it on the cheap. So let's go down to some pictures. various settings. You kind of see the colors pop the way that you might expect in a Zeiss or a Pentax lens. I really enjoy using this Leica. The throw on the focus is actually pretty long, so you can usually kind of hone in on exactly the right focus that you're looking for. And I really enjoyed shooting this lens and walking around with it. I don't know that I like it more than the Pentax, but it certainly sits on my camera more recently. That might just be a matter of momentum because it's already attached, but I really don't have any room to complain. There's a sharpness to the pictures, there's a pleasantness to the bokeh, at least for my eye. I really like the way light plays around in the lens. It's just a surprising value for the Summicron R. If you can find one and you want to adapt it to one of your mirrorless cameras, I highly recommend it. More so than the Summilux 1.5 that I had before, at least. So just something to throw out there. I hope you enjoy the video. If you like it, hit the like button or subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.